I am a huge fan of good games. I am also, strangely enough, a huge fan of some bad games too. But nothing has been worse to play, just a bad overall experience than this. This plug and play games console, you could say console, more like a controller. This is the ultimate 64-in-1 plug and play system. It has 64 built-in games on it. And some of those games are good, some of those games are bad, some of them are pretty good, and some of them are absolutely awful. It's 98% absolutely awful. Bad ones make up for the good ones in this point of view. So now we have to get to the part where we actually play these games. So I grabbed this, I grabbed my capture card. Let's get into all 64 of the games on the ultimate 64-in-1 plug-and-play game console. Well, as soon as you turn on the console, you're greeted to the 64-in-1 main menu with a great music track to go on. The sides are bubbles for some reason, and the background is blue, but I won't care about that. Sure, it's a pretty bad menu, but the games are even worse. The first game on this console is called Firebase. Well, Firebase is your basic shoot-'em-up. You're some sort of I don't even know what that is, some kind of a crane thing, and you're shooting missiles out of the sky, which are also shooting missiles down on you. It's pretty hard to avoid them when you have to stare up at those stupid pink missiles while you're trying to shoot them, but it's still a bad game overall. The second game on this list is Racing Fighter. This game is a game where you're a truck, I guess, and you're driving down a road while shooting cars off the road. However, this console isn't good enough to load those cars until they're right in front of you. So you're gonna die a lot. This is called C-Made. And C-Made, this game makes absolutely no sense. You wait forever for the stage to start, but once that stage starts, it's probably the easiest game in the whole world of mankind. You do have a life bar up in the top corner there, but it rarely goes down. Your goal is to pick up all the pearls on the floor before the time runs out, I'm guessing, but there is no time, so you will win this game no matter what happens. This game is called Skateboard for some reason. You're a guy on a bad-looking skateboard driving around a course of a maze while a truck and a UFO is chasing you through this maze. Your goal is to capture every one of those red pearl things before the UFO or the truck catches you. It's really, really hard to get through those holes there, so you will get captured every time you try to get all of those stupid orange crystals. These are the Olympics set of games, and all of them end the same way. That's right, I won once out of every Olympic game on this system. I won once, and that was in the swimming, and I barely won that. You will lose constantly on this system. This one is called Starfighter, and Starfighter happens to be exactly the same as the first game we played, whatever that one was called, I forgot. You shoot enemies, but this time they're coming down, And every time you die, the screen turns bright orange. And that's beautiful to see. And that also lets you know that you lost badly at this game and you are a failure at this game. This game is called Diamond. And now this game is not bad. I actually kind of enjoyed this one. The only problem I had with this was that your pad that you have to use to hit that ball back there, it's way too slow. Sadly, it is way too slow to hit that ball back up to hit those blocks. I would say this game is enjoyable because you get infinite lives on it, and it's relatively easy. So, good job. That's right, this is Hot Racing, one of the only games that has a menu where you can select your car. The big wheel, the F1, the SV, or a sport car. And each of them has a different setting for how fast they are. Once you get into the game, you start an impossible trek past every different car, and once you tap those cars, you hit the wall and explode. Now, doesn't that sound like fun? I think so too. This is Beach Ball. That's not a beach ball. That's a bubble. Yep. Now, this game has you playing as a bubble, and you are to pick up water so you can grow in size. It's actually not that bad. If you think about it, it's kind of addicting, actually. I played this game for a pretty long time, trying to figure out how it would work, how to advance to the next level. Sadly, you never do advance to the next level. The level keeps going for a really long time, and I say this game is enjoyable, but it's still bad. This game is called Depth Bomb, but it's actually just Battleship. You position your army in the slowest possible way, then you start attacking your enemy with single shots. However, what's weird is that your enemy can actually use more than one shot, so that's really weird and bad game design. I did sink his submarine with single shots, so there you go. I beat the AI. This game is called Bubble. But this game is not that bubble game. No. You're some sort of purple weird submarine shooting down the creature from the Black Lagoon out of the sky while he rains down. Does this thing kill you when it hits the ground? No, when it hits the ground, it runs away as fast as it can. Probably because you're shooting his brothers out of the sky, so he wants to run away from you. Oh, this game is bad. Terrible. This game is called Snow Racing. But you know what? I'm gonna let what happens in this game speak for this game. This game is called Dune War, and you know what? I think this game is fun if the controls weren't so bad. You're a guy with a rocket launcher in the middle of the desert. It's a free world, you can walk around. But you know what you have to do to walk around? You're like, yeah, it's the analog stick, right? Or it's the D-pad. Nope, you press the A button, and he'll start moving in whatever direction he wants. It's terrible. You will die. You can't aim properly. It's a very poor excuse for a game. The controller, however, I gotta give them props for this. The buttons are actually very nice to press. A way to press them. A good way to press them, how you would say. I don't know what to say. It's got a good reset button that resets the entire console, sadly, but it's good overall. Here's the controller compared to an Xbox One controller. The design of this thing just doesn't match up at all to an Xbox One controller. Just not a good layout of the buttons. It's a little awkward to use. A little bit awkward to use, but you can get over that. I could get over that, but just not the fact that this console is just so bad. And now this analog stick up here, right? You see this analog stick? It's basically just one of these under there. So when you use this analog stick, it's not very responsive at all, and it's very bad. Analog sticks compared to the analog stick on here, I'm using the exact same amount of force here. The Xbox One controller works pretty well with that. But when you get to this thing, it's so weighted down that when you use the exact same amount of pressure, it doesn't move. it's just not a very good experience. However, I have to give them props. The squishy D-pad on this thing, you could say D-pad, I don't know. It is quite good and quite responsive, except for some points where it wasn't in my gameplay, but you'll see that. This game is called Warfront for some reason. I have no clue. It's probably the most boring game I've ever played. You're in some sort of cockpit, and you are turning around until you see, I think that's a helicopter, I don't know. I think those are helicopters. And then as soon as you kill it, it drops a box, which I suppose you're also supposed to destroy. It's just overall a very boring game. This one is called Bomb King, but it's the exact same as the Battleship, except that you're bombing houses now. Cruiser is an exception to all the bad games that I've said. This one is actually pretty good. It reminds me of Galaga, or a game along those lines, except the ships are coming towards you, and some of them take 2 hits to kill. Another reason why I wouldn't really recommend this game is for the sound that the bullets make as they come. It is the most annoying sound I've ever heard. The game has power-ups, you shoot enemies. It's a great experience, I'd say. This is Small Dinosaur. Oh, this game is absolutely awful. You're some sort of dinosaur that when you move, your eyes go absolutely crazy. I don't know what's happening. There's a baby up there doing the jig, and he drops tinfoil balls, things, health, bananas, sometimes a lightning bolt, and you'll be dead. This one is called Ghost Palace for some strange reason. I don't know. This game is probably the slowest moving game ever. You're some sort of red guy running around a temple while fireballs fall out, and sometimes those fireballs, you have no idea which direction they're gonna go, so you'll land on them as you try to avoid them, because there's no way to know which direction these are going. Oh, hit mouse. Read that title. Hit mouse. You think you'd be hitting mice, right? Nope, you're hitting moles. As you go around this field, sometimes you hit moles, sometimes you hit corn. I don't even know. The title is Hit Mouse, yet you're hitting corn. This game literally makes no sense. This is basically just whack-a-mole. And when you win, aha! Those are mice there. You can see that they screwed up in their editing skills there, and there are mice there. Oh look, it's Moto Boat. Yeah, I played this game for a really long time, and this game is impossible to win. Your boat is so fast, and it is literally impossible to avoid any of the obstacles, and when you die, you have to wait until the stage 1 thing loads again, and that's not short. That takes quite a long time when you want to get right back into playing the game. This game is just terrible. Oh look, it's called Resistant, but it's just another blatant copy of all those other games we've already played. Great. This game is called Spar. And, yeah, this game is, pretty strange. You're a ogre fighting a orange ogre. And the game is, it's so bad to control. You fall back all the time. It's very hard to punch this guy. I did actually win. And when you win, there's people that live in that tree up there. And, she's throwing down confetti on you. Which makes no sense. This is Devil Rider, but you know what? It's exactly the same as Moto Boat, except now when you die, you don't have to wait for the loading to come. It does take a while to respawn, but still, this game is still very bad. So bad. This game is called Transmission. Now this game is special. This game is special to me. I actually did not really hate this game. It added a good, confusing nature to it. See, you're at that orange thing right there. You're that orange thing right there. And you have to get through those portals while collecting cups of sugar for some reason. Yeah, I know it's weird, but there's flaws, of course, just like every game on this system. But it doesn't have as many flaws as the other ones. So you guys should play this one. This is Twin Cards. It's just a matching game with fruits. That's about all special it gets. This is Sudden Strike. It's just that helicopter one, except now you're in a tank and you're on the outside of the tank instead of in the tank. It's exactly the same, except now you're shooting trucks instead of helicopters or whatever they were. And it's really, really bad. This is Wheeled Gunman, except you're not a gunman. You're just a kid with a BB gun shooting UFOs out of the sky. It makes no sense. They were probably running out of ideas by this point, but geez, this game is bad. It has terrible hit detection. You can barely hit these flying saucers because they're going so fast compared to the speed of the bullet of your gun. Air power is a special one. You see that jet trying to shoot that flying saucer? You never, ever see that in this game. There is hardly an enemy in sight on here. You search this map for a really long time and you rarely ever find a UFO. And when you do, it's just one. And then you go on searching again for something you're never gonna find. Farmer's Maze is a special one. It uses the exact same music from the main menu. You're a farmer, and it's a puzzle game to figure out how you can weed the entire grounds, I'm guessing. You have 3 pickaxes to destroy the rocks, and you'll fail when you can't complete it, and it's passable, okay? I'll give it that, it's passable. I hate Box World with a passion. I hate Box World. You see, when you try to complete the level, and you get a box maybe in an area where your guy can't push it, there's no reset. You have to go back to the main menu to reset this game. And since you can't do that, then what's even the point? What's even the point? You can't even move it. The boxes get stuck. No matter what you do, this is a poor excuse for a game. Oh, bugs. This game is probably the best game this console has. This game is actually pretty fun to play. You're a ladybug, right? And your goal is to kill all of the other bugs and shoot all the buildings down. Sure, the physics are bad. It's a bug in a garden shooting down actual buildings. And my D-pad was glitching a lot during this, but this game is very good, I have to say. Bump is terrible. A terrible game. You are in the ocean, as you can see, and you're some sort of, I don't know, some kind of red thing. I don't even know what that is. And you're supposed to be bumping those green things into those holes. It's impossible to bump those green things into the holes. I only did it a few times, and as soon as you do it, they respawn again. This game is terrible. It's absolutely awful. And you too can fall in those holes. And when you do, you have to wait until you can respawn to do it again. Burrow Explorer almost killed me. Seriously, like, you cannot see a single thing while you're walking around that burrow, I guess. So when you die, you can't see where the enemies are. You die over and over again because you cannot see where any of the stupid enemies are. This is Cute Fish. Cute Fish. What kind of a name is this? This is Cute Fish. You choose your bait, right? And then you set it down in the water and you can move your line around. But as soon as you move that line around, all of a sudden, it gets a mind of its own. You cannot control the fishing line. It makes no sense. I don't know why they put that in there. Is it a glitch? Is it possessed? I don't know. Eggs is a game where you catch eggs. You're a robot and you catch eggs that fall from birds, but you hatch stupid things that don't even exist. I can't even explain it, but your robot is not fast enough to catch the egg sometimes, so you will travel across the screen to get an egg that you will never ever catch. And the hit detection is also pretty bad, so sometimes when you think you're gonna catch that egg, you don't. So it's best to just aim for the middle of the robot at the edge of his cup there, and then it should work. Now, let's look at the box for a second. Let's take a look at the box for this thing. See that family right there? Well, that would never happen when you were playing this thing. This thing would never be a family console. It's not a two-player console whatsoever. You're playing with this, and you're playing by yourself. You're playing this thing with this cord sticking out of the end, and it's just not very good in that sense. First Defender is just a copy of Space Invaders for the Atari. Now, I love Space Invaders for the Atari, but this one managed to ruin that game for me. It just made the game look so bad, and it runs really bad. I can't with this game. They don't speed up either, so the level is so easy. I just don't like it. This is Fish War. Now, this game makes absolutely no sense. It's just like that bubble game from earlier. You know, Beach Ball. You get the smaller fish, you eat the smaller fish, and then you become a bigger fish. That's pretty much how this game goes. It's boring, it's slow, it's bad, it's not worth my time or your time. Garden War, it's yet another copy of the first game we played, except this time you're shooting bees and other bugs as another kind of turret. We're moving on. This is Grot Kid. This one, you're in a kind of a purple water as a purple guy, and your goal is to get all of those popsicles while not getting hit by the dragon, the fireball, and whatever else there is on there. It's just a copy of pretty much, it's just another copy. Most of the games on this system are just copies. Oh, who cares? This one is called Goblet Tower. And this is one where you basically just stack goblets. It's just a puzzle game where you stack goblets. And once you finish this one, there's a harder one that you can do. But of course, who would care and do that one? Because this game is just so bad anyway. This one is Bugs War. It's just another copy of Battleship. Next, Jumping Kid. It's your basic jump game up to the next platform. All of that stuff. It's pretty easy. Every once in a while, when the two first platforms will be in the exact same place as they were before, and you will die instantly. That doesn't happen very often, but it's still quite hard to pass if that ever happens to you while you're playing this game. It doesn't help how good the game is or not. The game is still bad. It just makes the game worse. Surprisingly enough. Moto Rally Racing is what this game is called. It's basically just the snow racing game from earlier. You know, way earlier. However, the guy happens to be on a bike. The background is green now. It's a road, and there's some sort of map in the background. Controls are still the same. You pass palm trees on the way, but you rarely find another biker on this road. It's just like the other game. It's still a bad game. It does the same thing where you hit one vehicle and you're swept out of the road. This is Pinball. Now this one actually surprised me. This is actually a relatively good pinball simulator. It runs really well, it works. It is actually pretty good. Eventually you'll go up to an upper room on this one, so it's a double layered pinball board. And it's very fun as well, might I add. So good job. This is your second good game on this thing. Magic Place is a garbage game. It's just a copy of so many of the other games we've played. Once again, you're an orange thing trying to collect stars this time. Well, what are the odds? The controls are sloppy. They don't even work half the time. This game is just absolutely awful. I can't even do it. I can't even do it now. Route 16, for some reason that they needed to put this in there. This game is probably the most confusing game I have ever played. Here's some guy on a motorcycle or something. And once you leave this room, you're in some sort of a code and you can never find your character. Eventually you will, and then you'll be forced to go into some of the many different rooms in this. In those rooms you collect Internet Explorers logos for some reason, and at one point you collect a email logo, and you will die many times. This one is called Puzzle. No sound, nothing, just playing the stupid puzzle. It's one of those number puzzles like you have on Windows 7, you know, that you could put on your desktop. It's just one of those. It's the laziest game ever. I guess it's not hurting anyone, but it's still really, really bad. This one is called Searching. You're supposed to find that green fish down there up in the top, and it's literally impossible to do that. So, yeah, this game is garbage. Strafe. Oh, I played this game for a really long time, trying to figure out how to do it. This game is very hard. I didn't know you could turn your cannon all the way. You can't. Once those stupid purple things get back under that one bar there, you can't shoot them. The aiming is absolutely awful on this game, so you will die over and over again. Surfage Sport. This game is awful. You notice how it said skiers? It says skiers, right? Hashtag skiers. Number of skiers, right? Right? Skiers. You're supposed to be on the snow, but no, you're not on the snow. You're a guy on a surfboard in the middle of the water, avoiding oil rigs at a super fast pace. Granted, I did set it to 15, but you cannot avoid this stuff. It is so fast, and this is probably the laziest game on here compared to Puzzle, but no sound or anything. This game is absolutely awful. The farmer makes absolutely no sense. You're a guy trying to save the sheep from wolves, I'm guessing. It doesn't work. The game's broken. That's it. Coast Speed. I bet you'd guess that it's that motorcycle game again. And yes, it is. It's the exact same game, only the background is different. And the car is more of a shade of pink now than it is blue or red, whatever color it was before. That's about it. Moto rushing now, and it is the exact same game as those other two, the boat one and the other motorcycle one. This is a motorcycle or a car, whatever it was before. It's the exact same game, runs the exact same way. We're done with this now. This has to be the most impossible version of volleyball I have ever seen. You cannot serve it for your life. It is impossible to also hit the ball. You have a tiny little shadow there to let you know where the ball's gonna land, and that's it. You have one tiny shadow, and you never know where it's gonna land until it comes into view seconds before it hits the ground. Only 3 times did I score. They scored probably 12 times on me. This game is pointless. It's a pointless game. Just get the tennis for the Nintendo or the Super Nintendo. Just don't get this. Avoid this game at all costs. It is a bad excuse for a game. This game is called Aimless. Oh, it is aimless. They got the title right, because this game is impossible to play. It is probably the hardest game I've ever played. It has a terrible crosshair. You're shooting like dragons out of the sky, which also shoot fire back at you, and it is impossible to aim at these guys. Is this all you got for me, Ultimate 64-in-1? Is this how you're gonna end this video? It is. It is. It's exactly how you're going to end this video. This game is absolutely awful. The worst game I have ever played. Impossible to shoot these guys down. Oh, it has a terrible crosshair. It's just an awful game. That's it. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. While this thing is garbage, it certainly did entertain me for a while. You know what? I'm gonna say that this was worth it to try. And I want you guys to go out and get one for yourselves. This was pretty good, and a pretty good experience to try this. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm Thorin Craft, and I will see you guys in the next video.